Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love, peace, and hair grease.
Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Yeah, you know I'm shooting straight from the hip.
This is Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know I'm always shooting straight from the hip.
Hey! Hi, everybody. Oh boy, it's been a crazy couple of days for me. But let me just start out by saying I am Carla Renata. Thank you for tuning in to the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. What we do here is we do reviews and we talk to people above and below the line in the film industry. Give me a big thumbs up if you are on YouTube. Let me know that you watched the show. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you don't like. And give me some ideas to make it better. I'm always open to suggestions and things of that sort. Let me just address something right at the top of the show. I had posted something on my social media that concerned people, and I didn't want anybody to be concerned. Your girl is just going through some stuff, and I just couldn't get my stuff together yesterday to do this yesterday. So I'm doing it today, and I'm happy that you guys are have been open to rolling with a sister in that regard. So having said that, my boy Brandon always shows up. He said that he can't wait for the Disney Plus day and the D23 animated announcements this week. Oh, there are a plethora of them, Brandon. Trust and believe. So I always started out talking about what I did the week before and, you know, how I was rolling. Last week was a rough week for me, so I didn't do too much of anything, but I did accomplish two things. I wrote an article for Sundance.org about fat in film, the image of fat women in film and on television. So be on the lookout for that on their site. And I also wrote an article generated around the Regeneration Black Cinema exhibit at the Academy Museum of Arts and Sciences here in Los Angeles. I was commissioned to do that by Sotheby's. You can go to I think it's Sotheby's.com to see that there. But oh, something to my eye. To see that there. But if you check my social media, you can find the link to that article. And it's a very in-depth one. I interviewed some of the curators and some other people that had an input in that particular exhibit. And I just have to note that that exhibit that's sitting in Los Angeles right now was curated by mostly all Black women. So I just want to put that out there and let y'all know about that. So I'm getting ready to go to TIFF. I'm literally leaving on a plane first thing tomorrow morning to go to TIFF. And I wanted to give you guys a little preview of what was about to come up at TIFF. And one of the things I'm particularly excited about seeing is this Apple TV Plus produced documentary from Oprah Winfrey and Reginald Hudlin. You guys know Reginald Hudlin or Reggie Hudlin from House Party and so many other things, but this is going to be playing at TIFF and it debuts on Apple TV Plus on September 23rd. It's a revealing documentary honoring the life of Sidney Poitier, his legacy as an iconic actor, filmmaker, activist at the center of Hollywood and the civil rights movement. It's featuring candid interviews from Denzel Washington, Halle Berry, Robert Redford, Lenny Kravitz, Barbara Streisand, Spike Lee, and so many more. It's also produced in collaboration with Derek Murray and also in close collaboration with the Poitier family. My favorite one that's coming up though, y'all, is The Woman King. The Woman King. It is produced by Sony Pictures and it's going to hit theaters on September 16th. So it's going to open right after it opens at the Toronto International Film Festival. It's an American historical epic film about the Ogoji all-female warrior unit who protected the West African kingdom of Dahomey in the 19th century, and it stars Viola Davis as a general who trains the next generation of warriors to fight their enemies. And then if that wasn't enough, it's blackety black black at TIFF, okay? Let me just say that. Then we got Louis Armstrong Black and Blues doc, which is also going to be on Apple TV Plus later on. It pulls back the curtain on this legendary musician by using archival footage and never before heard home recordings and personal conversations. This one is directed by Sasha Jenkins, and the film will premiere at TIFF on September 8th. Now, the follow up to Knives Out is called Glass Onion Knives Out. Tech billionaire Miles Braun invites his friends for a getaway on his private Greek island when someone turns up dead. You know, that's always the case. Detective Benoit Blanc is put on the case, played by Daniel Craig. One of the ones I'm really interested to see is The Lost King, which is going to hit theaters on October 7th. It's an upcoming British comedy drama directed by Stephen Frears and written by Stephen Coogan and Jeff Pope. It's a fictionalization of the 2012 discovery of King Richard III's remains beneath a Leicester car park. Just let that sink in for a second. And the film stars Sally Hawkins, Coogan, and Harry Lloyd, and it's getting really great reviews at the Venice Film Festival right now. Again, another black film on the come up. It is directed by Miss Sanaa Lathan. It's about a 16-year-old named Bree who wants to be one of the greatest rappers of all time, facing controversies with an eviction notice staring down her family. Bree doesn't just want to make it; she has to make it. And if that wasn't now, it's not only blackity black, but it's women, women, women. Women Talking is a Universal Pictures joint that doesn't hit theaters until closer to the holiday season on December 2nd. That date may change, and if it does, I will let you know. But it deals with women in an isolated religious colony who struggle to reconcile with their faith after a series of sexual assaults. Reeling from multiple counts of sexual abuse newly uncovered within their Mennonite colony, a group of women gather in a hayloft to discuss how to respond. While the men are away, the women narrow their options down, do nothing, and they narrow their options down to three: do nothing, stay and fight, or leave. Some fear that any act of defiance will jeopardize their entry into heaven, while others believe they cannot survive without husbands and sons. That one I think is really going to be something interesting to watch for sure. This one, Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe. Oh my goodness, you guys, I actually saw this one ahead of time, and I can't say enough about it. It is based on the winning 2012 novel. It's been made into an insightful movie about two teenage boys in El Paso. There's Ari, whose crushing social anxiety is only slightly more of a challenge than the burden of his family's secrets surrounding the absence of his volatile older brother. And then there's Dante, a confident, free spirit that Ari meets at a local pool. The pair find themselves in each other with all the beauty and grace of teenage discovery while never losing sight of the fact that they're growing up in a Reagan-era Texas where queerness of any sort is repressed at best. And then as we get further down into the blackness of it, I think I have a picture of this one. Maybe I don't. Oh man, I don't. Do I? Let me see. Da, 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 da. I do not. That kind of sucks. But I'll come back on camera for this one. So I'm going to do the junket and see the film A Jazz Man's Blues. It's a Tyler Perry directed joint, and it's a heartbreaking tale of forbidden love that lays secreted within a tantalizing mystery spiked with a series of dazzling musical numbers. You know, if it's a musical, honey, I'm always all in. And it's written and directed by Tyler Perry. It's featuring songs by Spike Lee and collaborator Terrence Blanchard. Choreography is by Debbie Allen, and music is composed by Aaron Zigman. This is going to come to Netflix. I believe, does it come? I think it might be coming to Netflix on September 16th, but don't quote me on that one. Then there is this David Bowie joint that's coming up. It's called Moon Age Dream. That is hitting theaters on September 16th. David Bowie, y'all know him from Let's Dance, dun, 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 right? So, and you also know him from being married to supermodel Iman, who's absolutely stunningly gorgeous. But he had a multitude of personas as a musician, a painter, an actor, a world traveler. And this documentary, told in his own words, that's been collected over decades of interviews, is a bold and visually stunning film. is coming 6 years after his death. The film is going to be screening exclusively in IMAX and at TIFF, and it celebrates the immortality of his art, drawing upon the astonishing depth of rare footage, including live performances of quintessential songs like Moon Age Dream, Space Oddity, Sound and Vision, Heroes, and more. So that is it, y'all, for the Toronto International Film Festival. I had just had to give y'all a little, insight into what was going down there. Now let's talk about this movie right here, The End of the Road. Where's my notes about The End of the Road? Let's see. I gotta have notes, honey, because there's so much information. I forget what the hell's going on. But there's this movie with Queen Latifah and Ludacris, and it's called The End of the Road. And basically, it is dealing with it's a high octane thriller. A cross country road trip when a cross country road trip becomes a highway to hell for Brenda, played by Queen Latifah, and her family. Alone in a New Mexico desert, they have to fight for their lives when they become the targets of a mystery killer. There's a moment in this film where Queen Latifah is being tortured on the road by these little white boys, and they are adamant about making her apologize. And they make her specifically say, "I apologize for endangering your white lives." It made me so, so, so angry. It really did. And the tagline for the film is not a tagline for the film, but one of the songs in the film is this, I think it's a Kirk Franklin joint. It's gonna be a good day, because ain't nobody gonna die today. That song right there. So they're playing that in the end credits. Let me tell you something about this movie. When I was talking earlier about fat in film and how we always see fat women in film being, not viable contributors to society, this is a film where somebody who is plus size is being a viable contributor to society. This woman has, she has a family. She's trying to protect her family by any means necessary. And it's really great to watch. It's running on Netflix right now. There's some, tropes in it that are a little familiar, but more than anything, I love that we see this kind of family that is a Black family. We don't see them killed in the end, and we see them win in the end. And to me, as a Black woman navigating through the cinematic waters in America, that's very important to me. So for those reasons, I highly suggest that you watch End of the Road, starring Queen Latifah and Ludacris. There's another film that I watched, ooh, baby, House of Hammer. It is gonna be, let me see if I have a picture of House of Hammer. It's gonna be on, it's not gonna be, but it's currently running on Disney Plus. Here we go. It's currently running on not Disney Plus, Discovery Plus. And you know that face, that's Armie Hammer. For those of you that don't know, Armie Hammer is a descendant of the Armand Hammer bloodline. And Armand Hammer, everybody that's Black know that they got some. It's always in the in the medicine cabinet. Is baking soda. But I think it's his great grandfather became a oil tycoon, and that's how the Hammer name made their money. But this particular documentary deals with some drama that came up, some allegations that came up for Armie Hammer regarding some very disturbing behavior on his behalf, where he was, for lack of a better way to say it, I guess he was like into S&M or BDSM or something along those lines. And he was attempting to tie women up and control them. And it was just very disturbing, dark behavior. And so one of his aunts, she came out and she produced this documentary about him. And it's in 2 parts. They're 2 hours each. I watched it. It's very disturbing, and it's very unfortunate because it came at a time when his career was on the rise. He's a handsome man. You know him probably initially from seeing him in The Social Network, that movie where he played the two Voss twins. But this film, it's a great documentary to watch just because if you don't know anything about that lineage of the Hammers, is interesting from that vantage point. But if you if you are somebody that has had any kind of physical or sexual abuse, it may be a trigger for you. So for those reasons, I would suggest probably not to watch it. But it's interesting, and it just goes to show you that in America, if you have money, you can do whatever you want. Like, it literally is one of those things where if you're in America, you can just do whatever you want. And I'm really kind of tired of that narrative personally. All right, moving on to something a little bit lighter and brighter. So y'all remember the old school Pinocchio? Who doesn't love Pinocchio? Well, baby, on Disney Plus Day, which is September 8th, Tom Hanks is coming to the screen as Pinocchio. Baby, when I tell you there is nothing that Tom Hanks literally cannot play. Watching him do comedy again was so delightful. His talk singing in his opening song was absolutely brilliant. The precision of it all, it was just really wonderful. And I'm not for nothing, but baby, when the opening credits start and Jiminy the Cricket starts singing "When You Wish Upon a Star" and he's narrating while debating himself, I got my entire life. I also got my entire life when I watched Cynthia Erivo play the Blue Fairy, and Joseph, you see him there. He's doing the voice of Jiminy Cricket, and Keegan Michael Key is playing the wolf. Just deceitful. But when I tell you, I don't think I've watched Pinocchio since I was a kid, and I was so excited and got my entire life watching all of it. I really did. Oh, I have a little interruption from Brandon. Let me just say what he's telling me. So he says on Thursday is his orientation for his second animation class. And then next week, I officially start, but don't know what day yet. Congratulations, Brandon. We're so happy for you over here at the Kirby Film Critic with Carla Renata. You know, we always support you, and I know that you support us right back. But let me finish talking about this Pinocchio situation. So for those of you that don't know, I can't imagine that you don't know what Pinocchio is about. But for those of you that don't know, Pinocchio is about this little wooden puppet who desires to be a boy, and he runs into some issues um, in the ocean with his father Geppetto. For those who haven't seen Pinocchio, I don't want to say what happens because I don't want to ruin it for you. But for those who have seen it, you're going to totally love this live action version of it that's directed by Robert Zemeckis. It's so much fun. Um, and I love the message that the Blue Fairy, played by Cynthia Erivo, leaves. She says, if Pinocchio stays brave, truthful, and unselfish, it will make him a real boy. Being brave, truthful, and unselfish is something that everybody could stand to learn a lesson about. There's some jokes in there. There's a Chris Pine joke about Pinocchio. And I love that there is a person of color ballerina named Sabina. She's a live girl, and her chemistry with Pinocchio is really, really sweet and really lovely. You guys, I mean, it's Pinocchio. How can it go wrong? Again, it's going to be on Disney Plus in just 2 days on Disney Plus on Disney Plus Day. And I'm going to talk a little bit about D23 as we get further into the show. There's this other documentary that's going to be at TIFF. I forgot to mention. It's called Gutsy. And it is a documentary that is being produced and done by former First Lady Hillary Clinton and her daughter Chelsea Clinton. And they basically take different areas of life, comedy, so on and so forth, and they interview the music industry, and they interview women that they believe have made gutsy moves in those areas and interview them. It's a lot of fun to watch. I think it's about a 6 or 8 episode docu-series, but it is on Apple TV Plus. Now let's get into these interviews. There is a Hulu series that's coming on tomorrow, September 7th. It's an original series that's co-executive produced by Emma Roberts. It's called Tell Me Lies, Baby. It's based on a book by Carola Lovering. And when I tell you Tell Me Lies is a deep little teen drama, it gave me all the life. It's starring Grace Van Patten, who you see on your screen to the left, and Jack White, who is Katie Seagal's son. But baby, they do the damn thing. Grace Van Patten she goes all the way in as Lucy, and I just can't say enough about the chemistry between her and Jack. It is just bananas. So without further ado, take a look and a listen to this interview. Well, I'm going to start, I'm going to start from the top with the showrunner, Megan Oppenheimer, and then I'm going to work my way down through the guys and the girls. Okay, so this is showrunner for Tell Me Lies, Miss Megan Oppenheimer. How important it is for you to show this type of intensity from a young woman's point of view, because when Diana and Lucy decide to get intimate, it's on their terms, not the guy's terms. So I really wanted to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, I think it's really important to me because it is on their terms, but at the same time, at some points in the season, we see them still do things to undermine their own happiness, even though they are doing it because of things that they really, really want. And I think it's really relatable. And I wanted to tell a story that doesn't judge women for anything, but especially for their desire around sex, and also doesn't judge anyone for when they make maybe some bad decisions because of that desire, and not just desire for sex, but being in love with someone who isn't necessarily treating you the way that you deserve.
And how much did Carola Lovering's book entice you to want to become a part of this project? Excuse me.
I loved the book. So Hulu sent it to me, and they weren't really sure what the show version of it would be, but they knew that they wanted it to be inspired by the book. And I found her book to be so visceral in the way that it depicted obsessive love and sexual awakening. And I really felt, I felt, I remembered a lot of times in my college years and just those early relationships that are so formative. And I loved how she allowed Lucy to be just a complete mess at times, but in a way that I think we've all felt like that. I thought her book was great. I couldn't stop reading it, and I thought it was really sexy and messy in a way that I really appreciated. It
is messy and it is sexy, and it is one of those situations where you're looking and you're like, oh, well, what's gonna happen next? Oh, well, what's the next? That's okay. I was like getting whiplash from like, all right.
Yeah. And sometimes that's how those relationships feel if you're in that kind of relationship. It's like, what's going to happen?
Right? Do you feel like when you meet somebody, do you feel like that chemistry is destined for you to meet that person? Or do you feel like the combustible energy that happens in those types of situations is something that's brought on in the moment?
That's a good question. I like to believe in destiny to a degree, but I also think some things just happen by accident. I do think that for me personally, chemistry is an instantaneous thing. I'm always so surprised when people say, I knew this person for years and I never knew that I had these other feelings for them. When I meet someone I know or I don't know, like it's one or the other. And I think that's sort of where our characters are feeling that, especially when you're young, you're feeling all these things for the first time, and it's overwhelming.
You seem very definitive. I am too. But in closing it out, just on a personal note, I want to know, how much did the Blacklist impact the trajectory of your career as an EP?
It was huge for me. I got my first feature film assignment right after that. It's really hard getting anyone to read your script, and I had been a child actor, and I think just people no one takes anyone seriously, and unfortunately, and it was huge for me. It got eyes on me. It got me into rooms that I couldn't have gotten into before. And yeah, I was really, really grateful for it.
I'm grateful that you're in this space, and I'm grateful that you're telling these stories from a female POV, and I appreciate that. And I'm sure the audience that checks it out will appreciate it too. Thank you so much, Megan.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. This was fun. Thank you.
Good. Bye. Now, I love talking to Megan because she was really open and really excited and was very, very proud of her project. Having said that, I'm going to go from her interview right into the girls, because since we were talking about messy, I talked to the girls who are Kat Missile, Alicia Crowder, and Sonia Mina. I talked to them about how really messy girls can get when there's something that they want. So having said that, these are my three girls, my three babies that are in Tell Me Lies on Hulu. Miss Sonia, Miss Kat, and Miss Alicia. Take a look and a listen. All right, ladies, what is happening?
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, y'all look really, really pretty. Look at y'all.
Yeah.
Look at y'all trying to bring it. So the three of y'all in this this series, you all have very specific individual things going on, but I think the one thing that is collectively similar is the pettiness that happens along the way. So why do you think that women are so competitive and petty with each other, whether you are in a relationship or not?
Well, I think the timeline it's based in 2007 when we're all freshmen, year of college, is like it was a petty time. So I think they could really like dig in there, you know? I think, yeah, like you said, we've all got very specific things going on, and there's a level of honesty, but there's so much deception. And with that comes just like a bag of drama.
Yeah, I'm trying to like skirt around it because I don't want to ask anything that would be a spoiler, because I could go all the way in, but I'm not really trying to do that.
A lot of the pettiness comes from insecurity, even from characters like Diana, who like puts on this very confident, like I've got it all together front. Like we still are like kids, you know, in our late teens or early 20s, and we're still trying to figure out and like scratch our way through the world and like find out like, oh, is this how I should behave? You know, like we're still really testing the waters when it comes to like relationships. And yeah, I also think that the time period, you know, there wasn't this like sense of like camaraderie between women as much, even though I think that there is a lot of that in the show as well. And yeah, just like good old fashioned drama.
You took what I was going to say, Alicia. I think a lot of it is insecurity. And I think also a lot of it comes from when people are that age, especially, I think you're not great at communicating. And so much of it is like wires being crossed and feeling like, oh, you said that and it makes me feel this way, so I'm going to come at you this way. And really, if they just were good at like being like, hey, that hurt my feelings, like we wouldn't get in these crazy spirals. I think that's so much of Pippa's relationship with Lucy is just, there's so much like subtle like claws coming out because they're both just like, what? Like they feel threatened and maybe insecure and not good at just telling each other that they love each other.
I met somebody one time where we were holding hands to cross the street and it felt like electricity went through my body. It was the strangest thing ever. And I say that to say that when you have that combustible chemistry with somebody, do you think it's something that you should ignore? Do you think it's something that came from like another, do you believe like in the other world, the other life kind of thing? Or do you think you should just lean 1000% into it? And I'll start with Sonia this time.
Oh, wow.
She's like, really, me?
I guess, yeah, I mean, it very much depends on the situation and the person. And, but if I were to come up with a rule of thumb, I would guess you would see what that was about. I would be curious to see what that was about.
I would say for me personally, I would lean into it, just like go for it, you know, like why not like try it out and like take advantage of that moment, because that doesn't happen all the time, you know, like I feel like it's really rare to feel that kind of chemistry with someone. And you definitely see that in the show for sure, which is like so much fun to do and watch.
Yeah, I agree. Lean in all the way, but don't avoid red flags. Don't ignore them.
Oh, that is a good word to end on. Thank you, ladies, for your time. I enjoyed your performances. You all were so, so, so wonderful. And I'm hoping that everybody else enjoys you as much as I did.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Bye. So that was the ladies. They respectively, let me see, who do they respectively play? They respectively play, let me find it for you, so that you'll know who you're looking at. Because y'all will be like, why is she telling me about this and she ain't telling me who's playing what? So Sonia plays Pippa. Pippa is a trip, honey. You're gonna love Pippa. Kat plays Bree, and Alicia plays Diana. Now we're gonna go to the boys. Brandon Cook, who plays Evan, Benjamin Wadsworth, who plays Drew, and Spencer House, who plays Wrigley. These boys, they were funny when I interviewed them because they were like, you could tell that, I don't know if they had just woke up. Well, I can't say that for all of them. I couldn't tell if they had just woken up or if they were having a moment or what was going on. But here were the boys, Mr. Brandon, Mr. Benjamin, and Mr. Spencer from Hulu's Tell Me Lies.
No.
So from each one of you, I just have to ask this question. Why do dudes play games in relationships? Why y'all do that? Why y'all do that? I'll start with Brandon first.
Oh, with
yeah,
me?
see, because you was laughing. Yes.
I don't play games in relationship. We'll start there. How about that? We'll start there. I don't play games in relationships. I'm straightforward and you know, speak honesty, and I think that's the best policy.
You know, I get a little bored. I might want to play like some Mario Kart, might want to play some Legend of Zelda, you know, a little bit of Halo on the side. You know, you can't just keep me down not playing, you know.
You got jokes. Spencer?
Yeah. I think it's in our nature a little bit. You ever seen that like episode of Planet Earth where the bird is like dancing for the female stuff? We got it in us. We're trying, you know.
I appreciate you, Spencer, for keeping it 100. Okay, because your boys had jokes.
Wow.
You guys didn't get those.
I just spoke my truth. I thought
your boys had jokes. Okay, just keeping it a little more serious. So, have you ever felt so guilty about something that you knew was wrong to the point where it stopped you from doing the right thing?
No, I don't think so. Maybe when I was like a little kid, when guilt's a big thing and you're figuring stuff out. But no, not really as an adult. I haven't had like no. That's a pretty boring answer.
Just you wait. You get a little older, you'll have some. It's all good.
Okay.
Come on, Benjamin.
Yeah, I would probably have to agree with Spencer's more like when I was a kid, especially like when it came to like stealing mechanical pencils or candy.
Yeah, I feel like guilt makes you do like the right thing most time. I feel, right? I don't know.
Unless you don't have a conscience, you know. It depends on the level of what you're doing and the repercussions. I think it depends on also where you're at in your life and if you're willing to deal with the repercussions of your actions. I think as you become an adult, it does get a little like you have more responsibilities. You have kids involved. You have this. You have that. Like I feel like it can get at times maybe trickier, but I think I don't think I have experienced it. Yeah, I try and be honest. Yeah.
Okay.
Boring answer. Sorry, we're not.
Listen, y'all are telling the truth. I appreciate you being honest. I'd rather you be honest and tell me a bunch of mess. You know what I'm saying? So there's
you don't want us to tell you lies.
No.
He's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So in this last minute that I have left, I want to know that when you are attracted to someone, do you fall really, really hard, or do you test them a little bit along the way to make sure that they feel the same way you do?
I think there are tests along the way to see if it's real, but I think when I actually like someone, I think I fall. I think I'm a lover boy. I was born on Valentine's Day, so when I think it takes a little bit for me to actually really like someone, but when I really do, then I go for it.
Look at you being a V-Day baby. Come on, Spencer. Give me something good. Come on, boy.
I don't often feel that way, but when I do, I do. But it's pretty rare. But if I do, you know, you go for. What was the question? I'm sorry.
You know what? I can't with you. I'm moving on. Benjamin.
Yes, I fall very, very, very hard. I wasn't born on Valentine's Day, but I was conceived on Valentine's Day, November, baby. So yes.
Dope.
Oh, look at the two V-Day babies. You know what? That is my time. Spencer, I'm not going to hold it against you that you tuned me out. It's all good. It's all good.
Sorry.
You tuned me out to the point where you couldn't remember the question, but it is okay. But having said that, y'all were great in the series. I hope a lot of people watch it. And thanks for giving me your time today.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
So, yes, you know, listen, I say what I mean and I mean what I say. My boy at some point was asleep with his eyes open, but that's not going to stop me from, you know, giving him his props in the course of the series, because he did the daggum thing. He really did. Okay, and without further ado, last but definitely not least from Tell Me Lies is Miss Grace Van Patten and Mr. Jack White. What's up, Grayson Jackson?
What's up? Hey, what's up, Carla?
Y'all gave me life. Life with this series. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Combustible chemistry is like lightning in a bottle that can't be contained. And that's what the two of you guys have in this project. I was living for both of you every frame, every second. I just want to say that. Do you think that there are some people that you meet that chemistry just can't be ignored, or some people that you meet where you're like, yeah, no, I'm not going there?
You know, I think it's a matter of like, do you want to go there or you're not going to go there? And I think the whole basis of this show is that they go there and they probably see all the things that are bad and they ignore it and go for it anyway. I don't know. I can't remember what I do in real life.
I think you're right, though. I think that sometimes, especially at that age, being young, newness and like new qualities in people, especially if you're from like Lucy, a small town in upstate New York, where you're kind of around the same people, and all of a sudden you're introduced to this person who's exciting and off and weird and forward. And I think that can sometimes be mistaken for chemistry or just interest of this new type of person. And I think that's what Lucy definitely falls for, is like, oh my gosh, this person is so persistent and forward and complimentary. And I must feel something for this person.
Yeah.
And I think it's so easy to mistake that at a young age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to mistake no matter what age you are. Full
That's
disclosure.
true.
So having said that, Pippa has this line where she says, the minute a guy knows that you care, your stock goes down by 30%. Do you think that's true?
Maybe at that age. I don't know.
The minute, what is it?
The minute a guy knows you care, your stock goes down by 30%.
I mean, that's true for these unexamined little people.
Yeah. And everyone's so afraid of being vulnerable and so afraid of communicating and so afraid of just being like, hey, I like you, because everyone's terrified of being rejected or looking like a loser or being weird. So it's all these people avoiding vulnerability and honesty. And it's ultimately why all of these terrible things happen.
Girl, when you said texted, that reminded me, I saw y'all using Blackberries and two-way pages. And
I know.
I was like, That was pure comedy. Did y'all have lunch or dinner or coffee or something prior to starting to shoot to kind of just get a feel for one another?
Yeah, we hung out so much, and the whole cast, we all really wanted to get to know each other before diving into this. Yeah. And it was so nice. And in Atlanta, where we shot, a lot of us lived in the same complex, and we just all got really, really cozy with each other. And it made all the difference.
Well, it made all the difference to watch y'all play these parts, because y'all did the damn thing. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you.
Oh, so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Bye. When I tell you they literally did the damn thing and Tell Me Lies, you can't keep your eyes off of them in this series. You really, really cannot. But I was remiss in saying that was the last one. This actually is the last one. I said earlier that Emma Roberts was the executive producer on here with her best friend, Kara Priest. So I did talk to them about a few things regarding the show too. So take a look and listen to Emma and Kara talking about Tell Me Lies. Good. Let me tell you something. This Tell Me Lies gave me whiplash. Okay. I had some whiplash going on because I feel like it's such a timely story, even though it starts in 2007 and ends in 2015, I think is when it ends. It is so incredibly timely. And I love how you guys went about letting particularly Lucy and Diana control the trajectory of when they became intimate, how they became intimate, and when they became intimate. And I wanted to know what was the impetus or the inspiration to let it happen that way? Because a lot of times when we see these types of teen stories, it's not that. It's not the girls making the decision about when to be intimate. It ends up being a different kind of thing that could go either way. So I'll start with you first, Kara.
I think that's a great question, actually. And I don't even know, Megan will probably have more to say, or would have more to say about it in terms of being the writer. But I don't even know if that was conscious so much as it was. I think this story is not necessarily about women not having power. I think it's about women who have power and in spite of having that power are still compelled to be sort of addicted to this toxic love. And I think both Diana and Lucy are people who are like, especially Diana, are like in their power already as teenagers and as people in their early 20s. But they still feel this draw to Stephen because there is an element of seduction in his toxicity and in the nature. And also, I think for both of them, he's unlike other guys that are after them. And that can be a very kind of, I don't know, I think that can be just a very alluring thing. But that said, I think that the fact that they both initiate speaks to the fact that they have a lot of power. They are not sort of meek and kind of indecisive, but they still are drawn to him in a way that I think makes them more complex, makes both Diana and Lucy more complex.
From day one, we were always like, who is Lucy? What is Lucy's POV? What is Lucy Grace Van Patten, who's absolutely incredible. She was the first person cast. We wanted her part cast. We wanted her perspective locked down. We were most concerned about her. And so I think that because of that, like a lot of projects, it's always, we need the lead guy first. We need the lead guy first. And in this, we're like, no, we need to get the girl. We had amazing female producers, an amazing female showrunner. We really, I don't know, we were just kind of coming from that perspective. And I guess that obviously came across, which I'm very happy to hear.
Yes, it did. I was super excited to see that we're a bunch of women at the helm of this project because that, as y'all know, that's normally not the case, but we're starting to see that more and more these days. And I was like, yay! All right. So there was this one line that somebody said, I forget which character it was, but she said something about the minute a guy or a girl knows that you care, your stock goes down by 30%. Do you think that's true?
HIPAA, that's a HIPAA line for sure.
Do y'all think that's true? I'll start with Emma.
I mean, I still have to play hard to get with Kara, who's my best friend. So what does that say? It's true. You know what Kara says to me about our relationship? You have to keep some mystery in the marriage. So, that's our... No, I mean, we're just being funny. I think, you know what? I'm a person where I have all my cards out on the table at all times. So I'm always like I try to be, hold things back, but I'm just not like that. So I wouldn't know the answer to that question is what I'm saying.
It's all good.
Kara, what do you think?
Well, I wish, sometimes I'm like, no, we're all bigger than that. And real love is real love. I think that there is something alluring about unavailability. And if we disagree, and if if we say there isn't, we're kind of lying. I don't know. I mean, I wish it was different, but I think that there is, but I do also really believe in like people saying who they are and how they feel. So it's complicated. But I do think, especially at that age, it's like we want what we can't have. You can't say that's untrue.
What do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah.
I think it's true. I think it's true. I think it's 1000% true. And I just want to ask this real quick.
Yeah.
When people meet, there's this combustible energy, right? And you can either lean into it or walk away from it. And sometimes it's fate and sometimes it's not. What do you guys think? She's like, Emma.
I'm like, you know what? I it always depends on the day of the week for me. Like there are certain days where I'm like, the stars are aligned. It's fate. Like I can't believe. And then other days where I'm like, I'm not leaving the house and I don't care. You know what I mean? Like I think that to what you're saying, like sometimes we can lean into this romanticism, and then other times, we can just be kind of on our own path. But I do think you still end up where you're meant to end up. Because there are days where the things that I push away are the things that I end up running into by pushing it away. So, I think we all end up where we're supposed to.
I think that I don't believe in soulmates, but I do believe in chemistry. Let me just put it that way. And I think you're not going to end up being with someone who you don't have chemistry with. Let me just put it that way. And I think you're not going to end up being with someone who you don't have chemistry with,
And so believe in soulmates?
No, because I'm too, if I did, it would just complicate things because I'm too OCD, and I'd be like, who is it?
Kara.
Y'all are hilarious. I enjoyed this so much. Thank you so much for
your time. It was really
time.
nice talking to you. You brought
Thank
great
you, Carla.
Thank you.
Cool. I could have talked to them for a whole nother hour because they had jokes. But that concludes my interviews for Tell Me Lies on Hulu. It will be on Hulu and available beginning tomorrow, September 7th. And trust me, you don't want to miss it because they got shenanigans. It is the most provocative, intriguing teen drama I have seen in quite some time. And it is based on a book by Carola Lovering. All right, let's talk a little bit about D23 before we get into the Black Hamptons and the Black family business, okay? So D23, as you can see, is going to kick off on September 9th. And for those of you that don't know what D23 is, it is the ultimate Disney fan event presented by Visa. It has, they do a Disney Legends thing. Disney is 100 years this year. And it's going to kick off at 10:30 a.m. in the Anaheim Convention Hall. They're doing the Disney Legends thing. And they're honoring Anthony Anderson and Tracy Ellis Ross from Blackish. They're honoring Chadwick Boseman, who won a Guest Actor Emmy over the weekend for his work on What If for Marvel Studios. They're honoring pretty much everybody that was in Frozen: Kristen Bell, Jonathan Groff, Josh Gad, and what's his name? I forgot. Oh, Idina Menzel, her name. They're going to honor Ellen Pompeo, Chris Montan, Don Hahn, Robert Price, Bob Foster, Robert Coltrane. Who else are they honoring? They're honoring so many people. But that's it. So on Friday, they're going to do a whole Hamster and Gretel thing. And then on Saturday is when all of the major events happen. And it goes through September 11th, where they have a plethora of other things there. So you can see it vaguely on this little calendar that I've given you. And check it out. There'll be so many Disney people there. Raven Simone's going to be there. Lily Singh is going to be there. There's going to be an exclusive look at Hocus Pocus 2, with including interviews from Disney legend Bette Midler and Kathy Najimy. It's just a lot going on with that. All right, so let's get on into the Black Hamptons, shall we? Now, Carl Weber has written these books, The Black Hamptons and The Family Business. And they have been wildly successful books that have now been adapted into TV series or miniseries for BET Plus. It's an original TV series for BET Plus. And it stars Vanessa Bell Calloway, Lamont Rucker, Elise Neal, Black China, and a plethora of other people. But I, your girl, sat down and spoke with Lamont, Black China, Vanessa, and Elise about their roles in old money versus new money and the Black Hamptons. Let's take a look and a listen, shall we? Why do you think that new money versus old money is always a point of contention amongst wealthy
whether you're black, white, or what you are. It's always like the new versus the old. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Racism is always an issue, especially in our race, right? But basically for my character, Sydney, when someone is challenging me and I feel that I'm on the same plane as them, that I'm not going to be happy, you know? I'm not going to be happy with someone interrupting what I want for me and my family, which is more property, which is my pool, which is all of the things that I feel that my wealth at this point is affording me and my family. So that's where she's coming from. Sydney's just wants what she wants when she wants it, and she's the type of person that usually gets her way. So all of this interruption is she's just not happy with.
There's always a resistance to people who are already in the class, right? There's always a resistance to who's new to the class, and there's a process of new money becoming old money, but that takes a while. And even if you get into the group and you've still got enemies, at least at some point when it's very clear that, oh yeah, you're in this group, whether we like it or not, but that still takes a while. So that's who the Johnsons believe they are and that they can be. But Carolyn Britton is making it very clear. Oh, no, little girl, as she says. And you know, if she were to say it to me, she'd be like, oh, "Look here, little boy. You know, ain't neither one of y'all quite on this level yet. So recognize, and you're gonna have to work a lot harder before we let you break through. You know, this particular tape. You know what I mean? And come on this side of the rope."
It is like a stigma between like old money and new money and things like that, because a lot of times people think that just because it's new money, it's like, how long can you keep it up? It's like the consistency of it. And old money is like, okay, it could be like passed down from generation to generation and whatnot. So it just all depends on like the person and like their mindset. So that can go either which way. I could go this way with it or that way. But Karen, she's just trying to make it.
New money versus money, old money. It's a pecking order. It's a hierarchy, as anything is in life. You know, it's like, I'm established, you're trying to have your turn. And also comes from insecurities. People that have wealth and that have had, you know, owned and control and power, you're always afraid of that new kid coming in and taking over what you have worked so hard to establish. So it's a lot of things. It is a pecking order. I got mine. I worked hard. I'm established. What you're not going to do is just come up here and think you're just going to take this and just take the limelight and go and take over. You know, that happens. But it's also because of the insecurity, and it's because of the hard work that people have put into their businesses and their homes and things that it's like, I have established this. You have to wait and get your turn.
Right. Now, can you address my issue that I have with Sydney and Carolyn? Are y'all gonna bury each other, or are you gonna bury the hatchet?
Probably not. My guess is it's not gonna it's not no hatchet will be buried. No, because Carolyn is looking at her like, you got an invitation to the party, baby, but you don't know how to dance, you know. And she's a woman that's like, who are you? Why are you here? You know, once again, you get threatened. You know, people that are in those positions, they get threatened when they see a new growth or new people come on the block. And rightfully so, because you don't know their intentions. You know, you don't know what power they could possess. So you've got to keep your power, or at least your front, and act like you got the power. You can't let them come in and try to take over your world and everything you've built. So, no, she doesn't have any respect for Sydney. She has no respect for Sydney whatsoever. And until there's something that transpires where she feels like she has to respect her, she might for a minute, but then she's going to go back. Right now, she's her adversary. So, yeah, no hatches will be buried.
Yeah, I agree. You know, at the end of the day, and I get exactly, because the thing is about Sydney, she's very smart. She knows exactly why Carolyn doesn't like her, and it doesn't bother her because she's still going to want to get what she wants. You know, yes, we're coming in, we're new to the situation, we have new money. Carolyn does not like any of this. I'm very aware of this. That's why I give her the finger. I'm not backing down. And I think that's the thing that makes it interesting. I understand where my pecking order is in the life of a Carolyn Britton in this world, but Sydney's not backing down. That's where you have a great show.
And that's some of the things that can make her insecure, because she is another force to be reckoned with. And Carolyn's like, oh, this little girl ain't backing down. Let me pull out my super bad wolfing stuff. But I want to say this, it's really fun to play these parts, but I tell people this all the time. In order to do that, because you have to really be very strong on camera. You have to mean what you say as that character at that time. Now, that's not Vanessa, but that's Carolyn Britton. And it's my job to make it ring true to where it gives you chills at home. But you got to love the person that you're doing that with. You can't come at each other like that. And like Elise and I, we know each other, but we had a talk before, and I had a talk with Black China when she got on set, and I let her know, I'm coming for you, but don't take it personal, because people do, because those lines get blurred. They can get blurred, and people are like, she was really coming for me today. She was really like, no, it's the characters. But if people don't, especially with Black China being, a younger, newer actress, I wanted her to understand, I'll be nice to you. But that's Carolyn, that's not Vanessa. So don't get the lines blurred, and Elise and I can break up and laugh after a scene, because, we know how it's done,
I want to piggyback on that with what you just said, Vanessa, with Black China, you being the newer thespian in the group, so to speak. How important was it for you to be able to not have those lines blurred? Because you're coming into a situation where, like Vanessa said, you may or may not have known that what she was saying to you as the character was her coming for you as Vanessa or as Carolyn. So how did you find a way in your spirit, professionally and personally, to work that out? Because that's hard. It's a hard line to straddle.
It was actually easy for me because, first off, the communication was there. When I first got there, everybody communicated with me. It wasn't like you do the lines and it was like an after effect. It was like, hey, this is what we're doing. So I felt like super comfortable. And these are veterans. And this is actually my first scripted television show that I've done. And I've been like super blessed to be casted in the Black Hamptons. But right off the top, like, this is what it was. Like, it was just open line of communication. So I just felt really comfortable. And then after that, it was all good.
Well, not for nothing. You did a really wonderful job. So I need for you to know you did a really wonderful job. Hey. And I also wanted to say that all of you did a wonderful job. But when I was speaking with Carl and the kids from Tridestin, they particularly spoke about how important it was for them to have strong individuals inhabiting these roles. And I think that all of you are very strong, positive, exemplary models for our community in this project and beyond. And it's been my pleasure to be able to speak to you about the project. And I hope that more people get a chance to see it and they love it as much as I do.
Thank you
so much. I hope they do as well. So
and you look, Carla, you look gorgeous today, doll. Look at you, child. Carla and I go way back, y'all.
Well, I couldn't come up in here with Miss Vanessa and be half stepping,
Oh, I'm sure you always look that pretty.
Thank you. You're very kind. All right, you guys, thank you so much. That's my time. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you. Glad you enjoyed the show.
Bye.
Let me tell you something. It's been a bucket list for me to talk to Miss Vanessa, even though we do go way back for a really long time. I've never really interviewed her, and I wish that I had more time with her because her character, Carolyn, is something else on this show. I also have never talked to Black China or Elise or Lamont Rucker, and I've been wanting to talk to him ever since I saw him in Why Did I Get Married and so many other projects that we love him in. So you guys, the Black Hamptons is streaming right now on BET Plus. I believe it began streaming over the weekend. So last but not least, I know y'all like, this is the longest podcast Carla has ever done. It ain't the longest, but it's close. Last but not least, we're going to talk to the showrunners or the showrunner from the Black Hamptons and the Family Business, Carl Weber's The Family Business, which stars Mr. Ernie Hudson and my girl Valerie Pettiford. We weren't able to work out some interviews with them, but hopefully we'll get them a little later on. But I did speak to Carl Weber. I spoke with his showrunner, Nakaya, and their director, Trey Haley. So without further ado, here they are. You know, I want to know how important it is for you and how you go about taking these characters off of a book page onto the screen, and then you bring these OGs that we've loved for decades in our community, and they come in and they put a spin and vibrance and enthusiasm into these characters that were, up until they showed up on a screen, were just characters on a page and in your head. How important was it for you to be able to take these OG celebrities that we know and have them inhabit the world of the Black Hamptons and the family business?
I was very adamant about certain things.
Ooh, like what? So you shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have said that. You know I was going to ask.
Well, in a lot of cases, you know, when you pick a character like Carolyn Britton, it had to be a really, really strong woman, you know, and, you know, I'll never forget the first time I met Vanessa Bell Calloway. We did a movie called The Man in 3B, and this is going back, you know, to the first project the three of us worked on together.
I saw that project.
And she played a crackhead, and I never forget seeing her walk out there and almost shuddering, like, oh my God, I can't believe this is the woman that I used to fantasize about when she was on the Eddie Murphy movie, and now she's somebody totally different. So, you know, when you learn and you see somebody that really can transpose themselves into somebody else, you know, you get excited. So when somebody, whoever, may say, oh, well, maybe we should think about this person, I'm pretty darn adamant about no.
Okay.
You don't
bite your tongue, huh?
Nah, I'm not that guy.
You mean what you say,
I'm really
you say what you mean, huh, Carl Weber?
Yeah.
Like Carl said, we've known Vanessa Bell Calloway, Valerie Pettiford, you know, Ernie Hudson. We've known them for years, and Tammy, and, you know, the list, Darren, the list goes on and on and on. And it's just been an honor to be able to work with not only friends, but family, and just build something great together.
I love it. I see similarities, and I'm sure you've heard this before, Carl. I've seen similarities with the family business a little bit to like Empire and The Godfather, just a little bit. And then with the Black Hamptons, like Nakia said, when she talked about Dynasty and like Falcon Crest and growing up on those shows, were those shows and those projects influences for these particular series? Because if they were, you did a fantastic job.
Now, it's evolved into something more than that, because the books are great, but Ernie Hudson, Valerie Pettiford, Javicia Leslie, Darren Henson, Sean Ringo, Tammy Roman, you know, just going down the list. These guys have taken these characters and made them their own. And I can't envision, even when I write, I'm working on Family Business 6, the book right now. I envision them. I don't envision anybody else anymore other than the people that are on this show. So to me, that's saying a lot. We always talked about, the three of us, it being our dynasty. And that if we ever have the opportunity to take it, you know, into more episodes and things like that, people are going to die for this show.
Oh yeah, they are.
There's so many things that I want to do, you know, and places I want to take the characters and people I want to introduce that in a short mini series I didn't have the opportunity to. I mean, this could be a show that people talk about 20 years from now.
I would love to see it expanded, because I love the whole premise of the old money versus the new money. And that's never something that we see on screen as it pertains to us. We never see the old money versus the new money. It's either one or the other, not both inhabiting the same space at the same time. So I kind of love that premise, and I would love to see that expanded, because full disclosure, but not really, if I had to choose between the two, the Black Hamptons is my jam. I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, I go really far back with Vanessa back to Broadway days.
And to see her, because everybody on the screen has been singing her praises, so I'm just going to jump in and sing her praises too. To see Vanessa do something that is just so yummy and delicious and so out of character of anything we've ever seen her do before, it's just great. And she does it unapologetically and with elegance and with class and with crass. And I kind of love it. It's so much fun to watch. And closing it out, I want to know, what advice would you give to people that will be watching this that aspire to be showrunners, that aspire to have their books adapted into a screenplay or a TV series? Just one little nugget of advice from each one of you for people in our community that aspire to do that, but are still trying to figure out how to get that toe into the water.
Yeah, you know what? I would just say, I always tell people, you know, at the end of the day, it's about taking that first step and not overthinking it, getting a good team together, creating something, finding people who work with you that do different things that you do. They don't do what you do. Everybody can bring value to the table and not get crossed and get caught up into all of that, and remove the ego and create it to start. You know, you look at so many people and it's like, there's some of the most talented singers in the world, but some of the people, it's one person who actually went out there and did it, and there's another person sitting at home talking about it, you know? So it's really about the doing. And it's just knowing that once you take the first step, God will take the next step with you, you know?
Okay. And that's kind of what I was going to say. The first thing is, with God, all things are possible. You know, for Trey and I starting Tridestin, our parents bought our first, you know, equipment, everything that we had, you know, and we wouldn't be here if they didn't take that road. But then it's also collaboration. If we didn't, you know, form this partnership with Carl, and him being a New York Times bestselling author, you know, and him believing in us and us believing in him, then, you know, none of this would have come to pass. And then having BET and Maureen and Larissa and Rose Catherine and Michelle and John and the whole team over there to believe in what we were doing. So it's kind of like teamwork makes the dream work, but it first starts with you knowing that with God, all things are possible.
All right. Take us home, Carl.
Well, I mean, finishing the project as a writer, you know, and not talking about finishing the project as a writer. So many people say, well, I'm going to do this, I'm working on this. But how many of them really finish? You can't shop something to somebody if it's not done. You know, a manuscript, a book, it's like a baby, it needs to be nurtured. And once your baby is born, you know, then you got to take it to nursery school, then you got to take it to first grade, and you got to sit there and work on with it, homework, and, you know, you got to go to the sporting events and watch them play soccer and all that stuff. You have to take that baby through the stages of becoming an adult. And, you know, some of this is what Trey is saying. You can't give up. You don't give up on your child, do you?
No. I think that was a great analogy. I think that was a fantabulous answer. And it is the most fabulous way to wrap up this interview with y'all. Thank you so very much for giving me your time and talking about your projects at Tridestin Studios. I'm looking forward to people watching it and talking about it. And straight up, I'm really looking for that extension of the Black Hamptons. So Carl Weber, I'm gonna need you to make that happen.
Thank you,
I'm
Carl.
gonna grow the baby.
I want to see it in the adolescent stage.
Hey, thank you, Carlos.
You're very welcome. Thank you. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Listen, and I didn't say this to Carl Weber in real time, but you know, if y'all need a reporter to be, you know, to recur on the Black Hamptons, to report on the shenanigans that are happening there, I'm right here, Carl Weber. I'm right here. Work it out for a sister. Work it out for the Curvy Critic, okay? Listen, I'm going to recap some things and then I have something to say before I go. So again, you guys, I'm on my way to the Toronto International Film Festival where I'm going to see The Woman King. I've seen Aristotle and Dante, so I will be giving my review on that. I will be seeing The Lost King. I will be seeing Women Talking, On the Come Up, Sydney. I can't wait to see Sydney, by the way. Glass Onion, the Louis Armstrong doc. I'm reminding you to take a look at the Louis Armstrong, not the Louis Armstrong doc, but I'm going to see the Louis Armstrong doc. I'm reminding you to take a look at the Queen Latifah and Ludacris show on on Netflix, End of the Road. Pinocchio is going to be streaming on Disney Plus Day, September 8th. So make sure you check that out. Gutsy is on Apple TV Plus with Hillary and Chelsea Clinton. Check that out. House of Hammer is going to be streaming or is streaming on Discovery Plus. And of course, Tell Me Lies on Hulu premiering tomorrow. You don't want to miss that one. And you definitely don't want to miss the Black Hamptons and The Family Business, 2 Carl Weber joints that are streaming on BET Plus. Next week, I'm going to have Miss Renee Elise Goldsberry. Y'all remember her from Hamilton and Girls 5 Ever. She is doing some stuff in She-Hulk, so I'm going to talk to her and Miss Jamila Jamil about Miss She-Hulk. I'm also going to do a full-fledged review of Moon Age Dream, that David Bowie documentary that I talked about. I will do a review of The Women King and some other things that are going to drop on September 16th. I will not have a live show on September 12th because your girl is going to the Emmys. That's right. I'm going to the Emmys. And after the last couple of horrific weeks that I had, I deserve to get my giggle and my drink on. So that's where I'm going to be next week. And I will also have interviews with the entire cast of The Handmaid's Tale, talking about this next season coming up, including Bradley Whitford. And who else do I have? Oh, and I'm interviewing the cast of A Jazz Man's Blues, the Tyler Perry joint that I talked about that's going to be at TIFF. I'm interviewing Tyler and some of the cast members from that. And if you flop over to Cherry Picks later on, I'm going to be doing an interview with Amy Lou Reed from Loving. That will be at the Cherry Pick site, not here at the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. I'm also going to do some Emmy predictions, and I'm going to tape the show. So I'll do some Emmy predictions and y'all will be able to see everything ahead of time. But yeah, so this is what I'm going to say in closing out. You know, as someone who is in the arts, whether I'm acting, whether I'm doing voiceover acting, whether I am writing, or whether I am doing criticism here or on someone else's network or channel or pundit work, I want to say how important it is to take care of your mental health. And I am somebody that has struggled desperately with depression. And the last couple of weeks were really difficult for me. And I don't know who in my social media network is watching this, but a lot of people that I know and I love reached out to me to check on me, to make sure that I was okay. And I just wanted to tell you that I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for checking on me. I got this. And I just needed to take a moment and step back and breathe and get my spirit together. Because what I didn't want to do was come on and do this podcast today and be a sad sack, because that's not who people know me to be. That's not who I am at my core. And I just want to bring joy, love, and light to those who support me and watch my podcast and want to see me thrive and succeed in this business called show. So having said that, be safe, be sane, take care. If this is your first time joining me, give me a big old thumbs up to let me know that you were here. If you are on the YouTube, if you are on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter, subscribe to the channel, get those notifications so that you know when your girl is going live and when she ain't. And you never know who you might see here. So you saw Vanessa Bell Calloway here today. You saw Carl Weber. You saw Emma Roberts. You see all kinds of people up and true here. You know what I'm saying? So, and I know this was a very interview heavy day today, but I'm kind of grateful for that because I didn't want to do a whole lot of talking today anyway. But again, please, please, please support me by subscribing to the channel. Thank you for those of you who already do. Thank you for tuning in. And last but not least, I'm going to put this last comment up for my boy Brandon. He says, not only is he excited for the Tom Hanks Pinocchio, he's looking forward to the stop motion one by Guillermo del Toro. I am too, Brandon. So having said that, take it light. Deuces. Love, peace, and hair grease. And I will see y'all on the flip side.
Thank